been a chiyuv in moving to Eretz Yisrael?
Good question. Is there a mitzvah or a chiyuv to move to Eretz Yisrael? The Gemara says that the living in Eretz Yisrael is the best thing that somebody can do if they keep mitzvot. If they keep mitzvot, they keep the Torah, they learn Torah, it's the best place in the world for them is to be in Eretz Yisrael. But if they violate the Torah, it's the worst place on earth. Why? They're going to have much more punishment for violating the Torah in Eretz Yisrael than for violating the Torah somewhere else. That doesn't mean it's allowed to go violate the Torah. Right here, I don't eat people. I just, sometimes. Sometimes only. I'm not hungry. I ate before I got here. And anyway, you don't have ketchup. So the point is, if a person fulfills the Torah in Eretz Yisrael, it's much higher. Person fulfills Torah somewhere else is also high. But if he does in Eretz Yisrael, Hashem has a special place in his heart for this land. So you do it over there, it's much better. On the other hand, you violate the Torah over there, the land could vomit you. Literally. You could get to a point where all your life collapses and you get kicked out of the land, which is what happened to us 30 years ago. Why do you think we live in America? Because we like America so much. Anybody that lives outside of Israel, the land vomited them. But at the same token, the Gemara Masechet Pesachim says that from the bad comes the good. That even though the land vomited the people that sinned, this is also part of the good that Hashem brings to the world, because part of the mission for the last generation before Mashiach is going to be not only to spread Torah to all four corners of the world, but also spread Torah to Goyim, to the extent where you could convert many Goyim and have them join Am Yisrael. That's actually part of the mission of the last generation before Mashiach. And that's part of the reason of why Hashem spread us in all four corners of the world. Now, as far as if you're going to live in Eretz Yisrael or not, is not simply if you're just going to fulfill mitzvot. Why? Because you can fulfill mitzvot but still fail as a Jew. For example, let's say if you learn Torah. You learn Torah, you do mitzvot, but you have work, you make a little bit of money, you bring some living. But you say, listen, honey, I want to move to Eretz Yisrael. And she says, listen, honey, I don't want to. I don't want to. Why? My parents live here, my brothers live here, my sisters live here, our kids are going to school, everything's okay over here. No, honey, we have to go to Eretz Yisrael. Now, you can push all you want, and you can convince your wife against her will to go to Eretz Yisrael, but guess what's going to happen? You're going to arrive to Eretz Yisrael, and all you're going to have Eretz Yisrael, but you're going to have hell on earth as a life. Why? Your wife's going to cry every day. You're not going to have any shlom bait. Your kids, who knows if the school's going to accept them. You're going to have a miserable house. Everybody's crying all the time. That's not a mitzvah. That's not a mitzvah. On the other hand, somebody says, honey, I want to move to Eretz Yisrael. Yeah, but listen, I have a good job here. I'm making $100,000 a year over here. In Eretz Yisrael, if I'm lucky, I'll make 30. We can't move it. We can't afford to live over there, honey. Well, listen, I want to move to Eretz Yisrael. And you force, she forces, everybody forces to go to Eretz Yisrael. And they go to Eretz Yisrael. And guess what? You also have no shlom bayit. Why? Because you have no money. You have no money. Or last but not least, some people move to Eretz Yisrael and they feel so comfortable with the rest of the Hebrew-speaking population, they forget that they have to keep Torah, and they end up, instead of getting closer to Hashem, they get lower. The point being is that if your avodat Hashem, your servitude of Hashem, your learning of Torah, your fulfilling of the mitzvot, everything that you're doing can be done better or at least as good over there, you'll have parnasah, you'll have shlom bayit, you'll have Torah, and you can do it over there, for sure you should move to Eretz Yisrael. But if your life is going to collapse, and your wife's going to divorce you, your husband's going to leave you, your kids are going to jump off of bridges, and all of that stuff, then no, it's a sin to move there. It's a sin. So, it's not so pashut. It's not a simple, yes, move, or yet don't move. It all depends on individual cases. That's why the Mishnah in Avot says, Aseh lecha rav. Make yourself a rabbi. Why? Because for these types of questions, you need a Talmid Chacham that knows you, that knows the Torah, knows and is obviously not only has a brain, but also has a heart, and can give you an answer specific to you, to your case. He knows how your shlom bayit is, how will it be affected. He'll ask you the necessary questions to tell before determining whether you should or you shouldn't move. I can tell you already. There's a few students that I told them that they should move, and there's a few students that I told them that if they move, they're making a sin, not a mitzvah. Unfortunately, in one case, a student I told not to move ended up moving there, and it didn't work out too well. It didn't work out too well. Doesn't mean that I'm always right. It's just that there's dat Torah. There's an opinion of the Torah. You don't want to listen to it. That means you don't want to listen to Hashem. Not me. It has nothing to do with me. So you have to ask a Talmid Chacham. You have to ask somebody that has knowledge of Torah, but also knowledge of you, in your specific case. If you could do all of the mitzvot in a better way over there, definitely better to live over there. But if it's going to hurt you in ways that are impossible for you to live under those conditions, then it's better for you to live wherever it is you live, as long as you live in a kosher Jewish community, as long as you live somewhere where you have Judaism, you're fine.